Ladies and gentlemen, the dust has settled and the octagon is still echoing from the crazy roars of the crazy fans in Boston of UFC 292. What an event it has been, and I will give you the juiciest matchups that we can make right now after UFC 292 for the Octagon Warriors. Hello and welcome to Bloodsport MMA.
Salam alaikum, my brother.
Let's start right off with the main event. Suga Sean O'Malley, and new, as I told you guys, and he called the shot with Chito Vera. And I 100% agree with that, and I will give you my take why. So I know the only right matchup in terms of deserving is Merab. You can also argue about Aljamain because he wants the rematch, but I'm not a fan of this at all, in my opinion. If you say you move up, you move up. So for me, I see him in featherweight right now. And you didn't move up because you just because of the weight cut, that was one factor, but also because of your teammate Merab, your best friend that waited for you the whole time. So now it's time for you to finally give Merab the chance. And it would be an asshole move, in my opinion, by Aljamain to stick around the bantamweight division right now. But hey, he does whatever he wants. For me, he's a featherweight right now.
Doesn't matter, weight class don't matter to me.
Merab, yeah, is the most deserving one, 100%, but you have to see, the UFC is a business. And Sean O'Malley against Merab does half the numbers of a Chito against Sean O'Malley, or even a Cejudo against Sean O'Malley. Merab is the worst matchup in terms of the matchup for O'Malley, the worst matchup O'Malley can have, plus doesn't sell any pay-per-views. Like Merab, as much as I like him, he's not entertaining in any shape, way, or form. That jacket joke that he did is the first joke that anybody ever laughed to, and now he's just eating that joke up by wearing the jacket to wherever he goes and hopes people still laugh at it. It's kind of pathetic in my opinion, but I don't believe it makes any sense to book that matchup right now, but he's the most deserving, 100%. So I believe they will do Chito Vera against Sean O'Malley. Sean O'Malley is a type of champion like Israel Adesanya that whoever he wants next, he gets next. And I do believe they will do that. The only thing that's also there is Henry Cejudo. I would not be mad at that at all if they book Henry against Sean O'Malley. They also have kind of a history. It's a great matchup, this and that. But I believe it will be like this. Chito versus Sean O'Malley for the title. I think Sean O'Malley wins that pretty easy, but there will be a fun fight, a fun build-up, sells good, and make Cejudo versus Merab for a title eliminator. And the UFC then obviously hopes that Cejudo will beat Merab. And I do believe Cejudo will beat Merab, to be honest. And then you have Cejudo versus O'Malley in 2024 somewhere. That would be a beautiful fight as well. So you have two cool title defenses for Sean O'Malley that sell good, that draw a lot of attention and are cool fights to watch for the fans, for everybody that watches the fight. So in my opinion, that's a no-brainer there. Then we come to the co-main event, Zhang Weili.
What's up, brother?
Most people say Tatiana Suarez get the shot. I would like to see that, but me as someone who really likes Tatiana Suarez, I would rather give her one more fight because she's 2 fights in after a 3-year layoff, something like that. I wouldn't want to rush her against someone like Weili. The more octagon time she can get before that fight, the better. So what I would like to do is Zhang Weili against Yan Xiaonan, a Chinese battle that will sell good just because it's a Chinese battle. Maybe even on an event in China, who knows? That would be fun. Because in the past they had title fights in a fight night. And if they could do a fight night in China with a strawweight title fight, I don't think anybody would be mad about that. That would be fun. But also if you book it for, I don't know, 285 in UFC 285 in November, Madison Square Garden, or December, I don't care, I will watch that. And then let Tatiana Suarez, fight Carla Esparza, the official #1 contender. I believe she beats Carla Esparza, but it's a good matchup. It's the #1 contender, and that's more octagon time for Suarez. So then Suarez is the official #1 contender if she beats her and gets her title shot with a lot of experience again in the octagon, a lot of octagon time. So I believe that's the path to make for Suarez. I would not be mad if they give her a title shot right now, not at all. It's just better for her, in my opinion, if she gets one more fight in. That's what I would do with Weili. And then with Lemos, it's kind of tough. I would tell her, if I would be her manager or something, take some time off, rest up, and then fight the winner of Mackenzie Dern versus Jessica Andrade. The fight that happens in Madison Square Garden would be a nice matchup against any one of those two, even though she already she lost to Andrade. She lost to Andrade in a standing arm triangle, so she could get revenge. And Dern would be a nice matchup as well. If she wants to rush back in, if she wants to fight this year again, then she should fight Jandi Roba, the hottest fighter on the UFC roster. Since Chito's already matched up by us against Sean O'Malley, we have Munoz there as well, the opponent of Chito on Saturday, and it was a very close fight. Some people say 30-27 Chito, don't agree. I think it was a very close fight, even though Munoz wore more damage on his face. I would really like to see the rematch between Pedro Munoz and Rob Font. They fought in 2017, so over 6 years ago, and Munoz won there by submission. And Munoz is ranked lower than Font. Yes, you can say, why should he fight upwards if he just lost the fight? But I believe he looked so good in that fight and Rob Font just lost as well, so Rob Font kind of has to fight backwards, you can say, even though it was a short notice fight. But they're so close to each other in the rankings, and they're in kind of a similar spot right now. I would love that fight. Winner of that can fight a top contender again. That would be a great fight. Stylistically, it would be a fun fight. They both just fought, so the time frame also fits in there, and I believe that's the fight to make.
Absolutely, 100%.
Then we have Ian Garry and Neil Magny. For Neil Magny, I would say rest up a little bit, take some time off. But what I would like to see, what would be a cool matchup, just because they're two totally stylistically different people, is Neil Magny against Michel Pereira. Michel Pereira just missed weight against the Wonder Boy, so he didn't fight. So he's definitely looking for a fight. But Neil Magny definitely needs some time off. But I think they could figure out a schedule there. So you have a tall, lanky guy that is very well rounded against a crazy powerhouse that throws unorthodox attacks all the way. And Neil Magny is, even though he got pieced up by Ian Garry, pretty technical. So it will be interesting to see how these styles match up. They never fought before. They're pretty close to each other in the rankings. So I think it's just a fight that makes sense. I would be interested to see that, and let's book it. For Ian Garry, guys, I have that perfect matchup. Trust me. So Wonderboy Thompson is off. Dana White already said in the post-fight press conference that Wonderboy Thompson will not fight Ian Garry. I think he said that Wonderboy Thompson doesn't want to fight. I wouldn't be surprised if they're booking Wonderboy against Usman right now. That's why the fight is just not a possibility. And look, I want Ian Garry. I like Ian Garry, but he needs to be humble a little bit. I want to see him having a tough challenge, because it's not his fault, but Neil Magny was not the toughest challenge on a few days' notice. Like, let's be honest here. He's always fighting older guys, I feel like. Let's give him a young and hungry killer. And he's ranked on top of him. He wants to fight upwards. He thinks he can beat everybody. So let's make Ian Garry against Shavkat Rakhmonov. Shavkat is looking for a fight. Calvin Gastelum pulled out of his fight against Shavkat because of a nasty injury. So Shavkat looks for a fight in Abu Dhabi, probably. That's what he said, at least. That's in October. It's 2 months away. Ian Garry didn't really break a sweat in that fight against Neil Magny. I mean, he just had a punching bag in front of him. Let's see if Ian Garry is the real deal. Let's see if he's about all that talk that he talks. Like Colby Covington says, if he talks the talk and also walks the walk. And let's make Ian Garry versus Shavkat Rakhmonov in Abu Dhabi, UFC 294. I will be there. I would love to see those two square up. I'm sure Ian Garry wouldn't talk that much trash against Shavkat. And that would be a hell of a fun fight. Stylistically, a hell of a fun fight. And Ian Garry has all the tools in the world to beat Shavkat. So that would be a fun fight. Book it, UFC. Again, I think they should just hire me as a matchmaker. Write in the comments, what do you think about these matchups? Which is the worst, the best? Write your matchups in the comments, guys. I would appreciate that. Make sure to like this video, subscribe to this channel, and that you can get the best UFC matchups. Make sure to get your sleep in. Until the next one, bye-bye. Bloodsport out.